what I wanted to do, and I hope that you'll all help me, is have a discussion with you about raising readers. How do we promote lifelong readers? So my first question is, can you tell about a time when you had somebody read to you and it was a good experience? Or if you can't think that far back, can you tell a story about when you read to somebody else?
My name is Emily. I'm from Braeburn School. I'm a librarian and I love reading stories. I love this story about we all know the story about the 3 little pigs and the big bad wolf. Now I'm going to be the big bad wolf. I'm going to tell the story, my side of story. Now, this is my side of story. Once upon a time, one day I wanted to make my granny a cake. I wanted to bake her cake for birthday. So I had everything else except the sugar. So I decided to go to my neighbors, who are the pigs, the 3 little pigs. So I went to the first little pig's house. Oh, that little pig's house was not so good. It was a mess. It was made of stalks. So I went and knocked at the door and I said, "Hey, little pig, can I have some sugar?" And when I just touched the door, guess what happened? The house went boom. And what happened next? You won't believe it. The only thing I found inside that house was a very nice meat of pig, a pork. For wolves, you can't just leave meat lying there just like that. So I had my breakfast, but remember, I didn't have my sugar. So I went to the other second little pig's house, and he's a little bit clever because he made the house out of sticks. So this time I knocked and no answer. I tried to knock again and no answer. So I knocked harder. Guess what happened? The second house went boom. So you know what happened next. I had another helping. And this time I had my lunch early. So walking wasn't that easy. But still I didn't have sugar for my old granny's birthday cake. So I decided to go to the third house. That was the brother of the 2 other little pigs that are already in my tummy. So when I went there, I knocked at the door. This one was very clever. He made his house out of bricks. So I knocked at the door and said, little pig, can I have some sugar, please?" And that little pig didn't answer. Then I went to the window and said, "Hello, little pig, can I have some sugar, please?" And you won't believe what this little pig said. He said, "I do not have any sugar for you, and I'm not going to give you anything on my little chin. Oh." So I decided, okay, I'm going to make my cake, my granny's birthday cake without sugar. As I was going, he said something very nasty. He said, "You can sit on your granny's, your granny can have the cake without the sugar." Okay, it's okay when you talk about me, but when you talk about my granny, that's when you've got me on my nuts. So you know what happened? I started yelling, going round the house. I huffed and I puffed. I really wanted to get hold of that pig. And you know what happened next? The media and all the police came round trying to get hold of me, taken to police. And that's when this story about the big bad wolf came across. I just wanted sugar to make my granny a birthday cake. And that's the end of the story.
Asante, Emily. How did that make you feel when you heard that story? Even we're adults, we're not even kids. What are some of the feelings? You can just shout them out. Do you feel angry? Happy? Comforted? When my son Aiden, that boy that was waving in the picture, was about 3 years old, he loved this story, and we read it again and again and again because he loved it so much. And there are pictures in here of the snowmen, so that they, in my area, we have a lot of snow, so they make little men out of snow by making big balls of snow, putting rocks in it for eyes, and sometimes you put a hat on it. Anyway, the snowmen in this book, Snowmen at Night, had such funny expressions on it. My son would laugh and laugh and laugh every single time we read it. And I remember him sitting on my lap and him leaning up against me and just laughing and giggling, and the feeling of his laughter and his little body shaking and reverberating against mine was one of my most favorite memories. So for him, hopefully he has some really good associations with reading, and I sure do too. So did anybody have a favorite book when they were a child? Mine was The Animals of Farmer Brown, and I made my mom read it many, many times. Anybody else have a favorite book? What was your favorite book, Andrew? Mike Mulligan and the Steam Shovel. This man that I was talking to said, oh, Kenyans don't read. After exams, Kenyans don't read, and I thought that was really interesting. Have you heard that? Yes? Is it true in your experience? Yeah. So I basically want to have a conversation with you about, let's think together about what things we can do with our students now while they're with us so that they become readers for their whole life. As readers, there's a lot of different ways to read. How many of you are able to read for pleasure, even just a little bit? I know we're very, very busy, but even though you don't have exams anymore, are you able to read for information? How-to books, yeah. All right, my next question is, when do you read and where do you read? So are you able to read at lunchtime, or I read at the end of the day in my bed, and I usually fall asleep and the book hits my face. That's when I know it's time to put the book away. Where do you all read? How would Kenya benefit if you change the thinking to, instead of Kenyans don't read for pleasure, Kenyans don't read after they take their exams, changing that from we don't read to we read in the matatu, or we read in class when we have a chance. What kind of benefits would happen to, why read? Why is it important for adults to read? And how would Kenya be better if more adults read? Interact with great minds, maybe hopefully change your thinking, broaden your perspective. Thank you. So if the kids are seeing the adults read, they'll be motivated to read. So important. Yeah. So having, understanding exactly what happened instead of what you heard or you think happened, changing your mind about a situation. Yes. So reading helps reduce the suicide rate and helps someone realize life is good. There might be hope, beyond what I'm feeling right now. Yes, thank you.